Hello, welcome in. Welcome in, welcome in. Got this lovely pink dress today. So I'm out of pink clothes to wear. So we're gonna go and start going into dressy clothes. But it's Wednesday and I have my pink. I almost forgot that it was Wednesday. I was this close to forgetting. And Jaleesa reminded me. So thank you, Jaleesa, for reminding me that it was Wednesday. I truly, truly forgot. Um, I wanted to be subtle. Getting Instagram set up per usual. Instagram, I don't like that color. No, I don't like that color either. Y'all know I'll be putting a filter on Instagram because that's my business. No, that's gonna have to be the one. That's what it is. Dang it. Hey, y'all. I know I'm running late. I know I am running late, baby. Awesome. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Got another episode of Reading with Miss Taylor Said today. I actually made it. I was this close to not making it today, y'all. So, you know, it's been a rough one today, but we here. We here. I'm glad that y'all are here. I appreciate y'all showing up. I appreciate y'all showing up. It was a rough one to get here today, but I'm so blessed because I talked to the person that I work for. Thankfully, she's my best friend's mom, so I'm very blessed in that regard. But I told her about what happened, and and I got the rest of the week off. So I'm very excited about that. And I get some time to think and be and process and all those things. So welcome, welcome in, y'all. Welcome in. I hope y'all had a good night and a good day today. I feel like I need to like elevate this. You know what I'm saying? Like I need to put this on some books or something or a box or something. Ooh, because I'm not putting a desk over here, but I like it. It's very like cozy. You know what I mean? Let me put that right there. Boom. Welcome in, y'all. Welcome in. We are reading the Four Agreements. We are finishing up. Hopefully, we can finish the Four Agreements tonight. We're finishing the Four Agreements. We are finishing the Four Agreements tonight. Welcome in, y'all. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Hey, hey. Yeah, yeah. It's nice. It's nice. It's some side, side gig type of job, so it's not like a full-time job, but it's really nice. I'm able to be flexible. She's very kind and I'm so thankful. So thankful. Ooh, so thankful, so thankful. I got a nice visit from one of my friends today and she brought me a candle. I'm very excited about that. Highly melanated. Yeah. Very excited about it. It's a lavender and sage candle. So it's very calming. It's nice and calm in here. The energy is really great in here. Got to have the company of, like womanly presence and that nice nurturing presence. Got to have somebody tell me today, like, calm down, sit down, it's all right. Just be still. You all right? You don't have to, you at home, you don't have to clean up. Like, girl. And that was nice. This is nice. Anyway, we are 5 minutes in. I can go ahead and get started. All right. So, welcome to Reading with Miss Taylor Said. I am Taylor, also known as Miss Taylor Said. For those of you that have been watching the show, you can notice, and you didn't see yesterday's episode, you notice this is a whole new background. If you have not caught up on this book, we were reading it last week. We started it last week or the week before last. The last 2 weeks we've been reading it. So we started at the beginning of February. So you can catch up that way. You can just go back on IGTV or go back on my Miss Taylor Said page on Facebook. Um, but my name is Taylor, also known as Miss Taylor Said. I started this show on November 30th, 2020, to accomplish a few goals of mine. One of those goals being that I want to finish the books that I actually own. I have accumulated a lot of books over the years, and I've started a lot of them but didn't finish them, and most of them I didn't actually even start. So I want to actually complete and finish the books that I've bought over the years. um Excuse my computer. I want to complete the books that I've actually collected over the years. Another goal of mine is that I want to get more comfortable reading aloud in front of an audience. The things that I want to do with my life are going to involve me reading aloud in front of an audience, whether it's reading a speech, reading a script, reading a teleprompter. I'm going to have to read aloud, reading and the award goes to, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna have to read aloud in front of an audience, and I want to get more comfortable with doing that. And so I want to practice that. And the last thing is that the last thing is that I would like to, I'm sorry, y'all. I usually have notes in front of me so I can remember this very easily. The last thing I want to do is get more comfortable with public speaking. That's something that I used to do in college, and I'm turning 30 this year, and so it's been a long time since since I've done public speaking. I want to get more comfortable with that, and 2020 gave me an opportunity to be on a platform where I can do that more comfortably. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for showing up, and let's get into the four agreements. We started reading the four agreements at the beginning of the month, and we are very close to the end. The last thing that we left off on was chapter 6, talking about breaking the old agreements and what you have to do to break the old agreements. And so we were going into the section where he said was that is called the art of transformation, the dream of the second attention. So these are the solutions to these are the ways that we can actually spend our time, working on. I forgot to turn my heat off. Hey, I'll be right back, you guys. And I want to see if I can do something very, very quickly on my phone. Mm. Y'all still there? Yay. Okay, we'll turn that off because I don't want to hear it. Be right back. I'm very here for the more intimate setting than the desk in the office space looking setting. I like this a lot better. So, get my water over here so I don't die of thirst. All right, let me refresh our memory. Oh, this is when he was going in on the parasite. And yeah, just talking about how, anyway, we're just going to go straight into it. If we missed the last episodes, we can go back and watch them. The art of transformation, the dream of the second attention. We have learned that the dream you are living in now is the result of the outside dream hooking your attention and feeding you all of your beliefs. The process of domestication can be called the dream of the first attention because it was how your attention was used for the first time to create the dream of your life. One way to change your beliefs is to focus your attention on all those agreements and beliefs and change the agreements with yourself. In doing this, you are using your attention excuse me, you are using your attention for the second time and thus creating the dream of the second attention or the new dream. The difference is that you are no longer innocent. When you were a child, this was not true. You didn't have a choice, but you are no longer a child. Now it's up to you to choose to believe in anything, and that includes believing in yourself. Ooh, he about to get in on me. He about to go in on me tonight. Watch. The first step is to become aware of the fog that is in your mind. You must become aware that you are dreaming all the time. Only with awareness do you have the possibility of transforming your dream. If you have the awareness that the whole drama of your life is the result of what you believe and what you believe is not real, then you can begin to change it. However, to really change your beliefs, you need to focus your attention on what it is that you want to change. You have to know which agreements you want to change before you can change them. Welcome in, welcome in. We're reading the four agreements. So, the next step is to develop awareness of all the self limiting, fear based beliefs that make you unhappy. You take an inventory of all of that you believe, all of your agreements, and through this process, you begin the transformation. The Toltecs call this the art of transformation, and it's a whole mastery. You achieve the art of transformation by changing the fear based agreements that make you suffer and reprogramming your own mind in your own way. One of the ways to do this is to explore and adopt alternative beliefs, such as the Four Agreements. The decision to adopt the Four Agreements is a declaration of war to regain your freedom from the parasite. The Four Agreements offer the possibility of ending the emotional pain, which can open the door for you to enjoy your life and begin a new dream. It's up to you to explore the possibilities of your dream, if you're interested. The Four Agreements were created to assist you in the art of transformation, to help you break the limiting agreements, gain more personal power, and become stronger. The stronger you get, the more agreements you can break until the moment comes when you make it to the core of all of those agreements. Going to the core of those agreements is what I call going to the desert. When you go into the desert, you meet the demons face to face. After coming out of the desert, all those demons become angels. Excuse me, y'all. All of those demons become angels. Practicing the four new agreements is a big act of power. Breaking the spell of black magic in your mind requires great personal power. Every time you break an agreement, you gain extra power. You start by breaking agreements that are very small and require less power. As those smaller agreements are broken, your personal power will increase until you reach a point where you can finally face the big demons in your mind. So basically, start off with the things, like the little things that you can change. Start off with the small things that you can change, and then work your way up to the bigger things. I need to put more book behind this. There we go. And then you can work your way up to the bigger things that you can change. Um, Practicing the four, let me see. Yeah. For example, the little girl, wait. Every time you break an agreement, you can, yeah, I read that. For example, the little girl who was told not to sing is now 20 years old and she still does not sing. One way she can overcome the belief that her voice is ugly is to say, okay, I will try to sing even if I do sing badly. Then she can pretend that someone is clapping and telling her, oh, that was beautiful. This may break a teeny tiny bit. This may break the agreement a teeny tiny bit, but it will still be there. However, she now has a little more power and courage to try again and again until she breaks the agreement. I'll drink some caffeine. Hope that gives me a little jolt of energy. Okay. That's the one that's one way out of the dream of hell. But for every agreement you break that makes you suffer, you will need to replace it with a new agreement that makes you happy. This will keep the old agreement from coming back. If you occupy the same space with a new agreement, then the old agreement is gone forever, and in its place is the new agreement. There are many strong beliefs in the mind that can make this process look hopeless. This is why you need to go step by step and be patient with yourself, because this is a slow process. This is a slow process. The way you are living now is the result of many years of domestication. You cannot expect to break the domestication in one day. Boy, I'm learning that hard. I'm learning that hard time right now. Breaking agreements is very difficult because we put the power of the word, which is the power of our will, into every agreement we have made. We need the same amount of power to change an agreement. We cannot change an agreement with less power than we use to make the agreement. And almost all of our personal power is invested in keeping the agreements we have found with ourselves. That's because our agreements are actually like a strong addiction. We are addicted to being the way we are. We are addicted to anger, jealousy, and self pity. We are addicted to the beliefs that tell us, I'm not good enough. I'm not intelligent enough. Why even try? Other people will do it because they're better than me. All of these old agreements, which rule our dream of life, are the result of repeating them over and over again. Therefore, to adopt the four agreements, you need to put repetition into action. Practicing the new agreements in your life is how your best becomes better. Repetition makes the master. So, repetition is the father of learning. The way you learn how to make these new agreements and keep them is to keep doing them over and over and over again. It reminds me of my time where I was kind of like be like Job. Because baby, I was reading Job and I was just like, I looked at it like Job got screwed over. Job in the Bible, he got screwed over. Okay. God told him, God didn't tell him anything. God made a bet and then took everything from him to prove that even the most righteous man, this really great man, he's still going to love me just to flex. He literally took everything from Job just to flex on the adversary or the devil and be like, because the devil challenged him. He was like, the only reason why your followers love you is because you make them happy and you give them what they need. If they're faithful to you, you reward them. But what happens if their lives suffer? Would they still love you? I don't think they would still love you. They love you because they need you, and they wouldn't love you. So to prove a point, he used Job, his most righteous man. And what made me use Job was, for one, that was something that my grandmother had said when she passed away. She was like, make me like Job when it came to her cancer, where it was just like, she wanted to be grateful over and over. She wanted to make sure that it was known that even in her hardest time, she's still grateful. And, excuse me, and I was like, make me like Job in a different way, because I wanted to know, and I kind of isolated myself, even within the relationship, which again, the situation I was talking about yesterday, that's what made it easy for them to do that to me, was because I was going through a period of spiritual work where I'm like, okay, I want to separate myself from the things that I've grown attached to and dependent on emotionally. So that includes people, that includes things and activities. Like, I want to separate myself and I want to know, because the thing is, because what I wanted to know, and it's like a deprivation. I deprived myself of something to find the truth in it. So I wanted to know. I still am searching for this. And this is about to be my biggest challenge and my biggest journey now into my new adventure of singlehood, because it's like, if everyone in your life were to disappear, if everything that you've ever identified with that is not you, and in your space and on your person, like, is who you are, like the people you love, your friends, your family, if every single person in your life was gone right now, say the flood came, you the only one that gets to do it. You the only one that gets to be here. and you have to live amongst other people that you don't know, but the people that you love gone, right? Say that happens. Are you okay with who you are? And say the benefit is that you have no memory of them, but you still, the only things that you're allowed to remember are who you are and yourself, but you don't get to remember any of the relationships you had. Maybe you can remember the feelings or whatever, but you can't really remember the relation. You can't remember, you don't have memory of the relationships, and you don't have to grieve the loss of those people, and you just had to fresh start, be yourself, player one, start fresh with all the things that already make you you, that have nothing to do with anyone else. How would you feel about being with yourself? Are you happy with being with yourself? And I know that's a very specific set of hypothetical circumstances, but I needed there to be an understanding of the type of isolation I want to isolate, the type of isolation I want to have surrounding the idea of who I am as an individual without anyone else's influence. And so that was something that I had started exploring. And because of the fact that Job pretty much lost everyone in his life and everything in his life, he had to still figure out a way to be okay with his life with losing everything. And so that's why I was like, make me like Job in that way, where it's just like, I still have to find a way to, with losing, if I lost everything and hypothetically lost everything, would I still be able to be thankful to my ancestors, my spirit guides, my, like, to God? Would I still be able to be happy and thankful? Would I still be able to live a full life? Would I still be able to live a full life and enjoy it and just be like, well, I don't have any relationships. Can I build new relationships? Am I the type of person that can rebuild my community based off of who I am, not because of the specific people that are in my life? And I love the people that are in my life, but no one's here forever. I could lose them. And my life can't stop because they're gone. But I also don't want to, of course, I'm never going to disrespect my feelings about that. You better open them chakras and release all the detachments. Yes, I guess that's what I'm doing. I didn't specifically name it that, but I guess that's what I'm doing. But yeah, it's like I want to have healthy attachments. I don't want to live in codependency anymore because my God, that I listen, I come from a big family. I come from a big family and I come from a big family, but I also come from a family that dealt with divorce and all the relationships I dealt with. So, codependency and abandonment are real hard for me to for me to deal with. Codependency is something that I'm like really, I'm hard up for, and the abandonment thing is like something that is just like I can't deal with that. So I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be without I don't want to be without access, easy access to someone that can bring me comfort, when I'm feeling emotional, and a body that I can be all, cuddled up to or whatever. Like I don't want to be like that, but that's a part of that's a part of my codependency. And just knowing that, looking for people to fill in those spaces where I'm just like, well, I'm there for people emotionally. I need somebody to be there for me emotionally, you know? But what about me? What about my own silence? What about my own isolation? Not just having isolation within the relationship, and isolating myself because of my relationship. And so just being like, well, I'm being a good girlfriend. So I'm not going to be out here in these streets and hanging out with people and, talking to all these people. Nah, the real work begins when you choose that you choose that isolation specifically to do the work, and it's not happening by circumstance. That's what is going to happen for me. Let's see what Rebecca said. It exactly is, and you should be so proud. It really is one of the hardest things to do, but you are really opening that portal in a major way. So proud and inspired by you guys. Oh, thank you, sweetie. That's so sweet. Thank you. Let's continue. So the next, and I really hope that this is going to be one of those situations where what I just said ends up being what he writes about. The next section is called The Discipline of the Warrior, Controlling Your Own Behavior. It probably is. It's probably going to be one of those situations. Imagine that you awake early one morning, overflowing with enthusiasm for the day. You feel good. You are happy and have plenty of energy to face the day. Then at breakfast, you have a big fight with your spouse, and a flood of emotion comes out. You get mad, and in the emotion of anger, you spend a lot of personal power. After the fight, you feel drained, and you just want to go and cry. Girl, that's been me for the last 11 years. Shit. That right there. In fact, you feel so tired that you go to your room, collapse, and try to recover. You spend the day wrapped up in your emotions. You have no energy to keep going, and you just want to walk away from everything. Every day, we wake we awake with a certain amount of mental, emotional, and physical energy that we spend throughout the day. If we allow our emotions to deplete our energy, we have no energy to change our lives or to give to others. The way you see the world will depend upon the emotions you are feeling. When you are angry, everything around you is wrong. Nothing is right. You blame everything, including the weather. Whether it's raining or the sun is shining, nothing pleases you. When you are sad, everything around you is sad and makes you cry. You see the trees and you feel sad. You see the rain and everything looks so sad. Perhaps you feel vulnerable and have a need to protect yourself because you don't know in what moment someone will attack you. You do not trust anything or anyone around you. This is because you see the world with the eyes of fear. Imagine that the human mind is the same as your skin. You can touch healthy skin and it feels wonderful. Your skin is made for perception, and the sensation of touch is wonderful. Now imagine that you have an injury and the skin gets cut and infected. If you touch the infected skin, it is going to hurt. So you try to cover and protect your skin. You will not enjoy being touched because it hurts. Now imagine, right, had to get a spouse first. Now imagine that all humans have this skin disease. Nobody can touch each other because it is going to hurt. Everyone has wounds on their skin, and so the infection is seen as normal. Ooh, ooh, he's saying something right here, y'all. He is saying something right here. Hold on now. Hold on. Hold on. Ooh, imagine this is a skin disease, and the cuts and all this stuff is seen as normal, and everyone has wounds on their skin because we all got wounds on our skin. Hold on. So the infection is seen as normal. The pain is also considered normal. Ooh, we believe that we are supposed to be that way. Can you imagine how we would behave with each other if all the humans in the world had this skin disease? Of course, we would hardly ever hug each other because it would be too painful. So we would need to create a lot of distance between us. Ooh, ooh. Okay, so this is like inception right now because of course there was no way for him to know that the pandemic was going to happen, right? There was no way for him to know that capitalism was going to be exposed in the way that it is right being exposed right now, right? And showing that you don't have like we're honestly y'all, let's be real. There are more of us because of the fact that a lot of us have had to stay at home and haven't been able to be out. Like there are a lot of us that are not working on the clock, the time clock. I mean, we're not working on regular time anymore. We're working on our body's clock. And so some of us be in the bed mad early, some of us be up mad late. You know, we're not working on the same schedules because of the way that our lives have changed so dramatically with the pandemic. And so, and then also the distance that has to be between us. Dang, he don't even know. Sorry. The human mind is exactly like this description of infected skin. Every human has an emotional body completely covered with infected wounds. Each wound is infected with emotional poison. And the way that you heal those infected wounds is by doing things for your mental health, like therapy, going to therapy. Go to therapy. The only people that have told me that they weren't the people that have told me that therapy is not for everybody are the people that needed it the freaking most. Go to therapy. Try it, give it a fair shot, give it a fair shot, but go to therapy. I'm gonna get back in therapy and talk to my girl again. Anyway, but the doctor for the affected emotional skin would be a therapist. The poison of all the emotions that makes us suffer, such as hate, anger, envy, and sadness. An action of injustice opens a wound in the mind, and we react with emotional poison because of the concepts and beliefs we have about injustice and what is fair. The mind is so wounded and full of poison by the process of domestication that everyone describes the wounded mind as normal. This is considered normal, but I can tell you that it is not normal. It is not normal. We have a dysfunctional dream of the planet, and humans are mentally sick with a disease called fear. The symptoms of the disease are all the emotions that make humans suffer: anger, sadness, hate, envy, and betrayal. When the fear is too great, the reasoning mind begins to fail, and we call this mental illness. Ooh. Psychotic behavior occurs when the mind is so frightened that the wounds so painful that it seems better to break contact from the outside world. I think he's oversimplifying, but I see what he's doing. If we see our state of mind as a disease, we we find there is a cure. We don't have to suffer any longer. First, we need the truth to open the emotional wounds, take the poison out, and heal the wounds completely. Actually, he's pretty right. This is mental illness. This is literally what he's describing. How do we do this? We must forgive those we feel have wronged us, not because they deserve to be forgiven, but because we love ourselves so much that we don't want to keep paying for that injustice. Forgiveness is the only way to heal. We can choose forgiveness because we feel compassion for ourselves. We can let go of the resentment and declare, that's enough. I will no longer be the big judge that goes against myself. I will no longer beat myself up and abuse myself. I will no longer be the victim. First, we need to forgive our parents, our brothers, our sisters, our friends, and God. Ooh, first we need to forgive our parents, our brothers, our sisters, our friends, and God. Once you forgive God, you can finally forgive yourself. Once you forgive yourself, the self rejection in your mind is over. Self acceptance begins, and the self love will grow so strong that you will finally accept yourself just the way you are. That's the beginning of the free human. Forgiveness is the key. You will know you have forgiven someone when you see them and you no longer have an emotional reaction. You will hear the name of that person and you will have no emotional reaction. When someone can touch what used to be a wound and it no longer hurts you, then you know you have truly forgiven. The truth is like a scalpel. The truth is painful because it opens up all of the wounds which are covered by lies so that we can be healed. These lies are what we call the denial system. Oh, he getting an ass tonight, ain't he? It's a good thing we have the denial system because it allows us to cover our wounds and still function. But once we no longer have any wounds or any poison, we don't need to lie anymore. We don't need the denial system because a healthy mind, like healthy skin, can be touched without hurting. It's pleasurable for the mind to be touched when it's clean. The problem with most people is that they lose control of their emotions. It is the emotions that control the behavior of the human, not the human who controls the emotions. When we lose control, we say things that we don't want to say and do things that we don't want to do. That is why it is so important to be impeccable with our word and to become a spiritual warrior. We must learn to control the emotions we have. We must learn to control the emotions so we have enough personal power to change the fear-based agreements, escape from hell, and create our own personal heaven. Who? How are we to become a warrior? There are certain characteristics of the warrior that are nearly the same around the world. The warrior has awareness. That's very important. We are aware that we are at war, and the war in our minds requires discipline. Now, not the discipline of a soldier, but the discipline of a warrior. Not the discipline from the outside to tell us what to do and what not to do, but the discipline to be ourselves no matter what. The warrior has control. The warrior has control, not control over another human, not control over another human, but control over one's own emotions, control over one's own self. It is when we lose control that we repress the emotions, not when we are in control. It is when we lose control that we repress the emotions, not when we are in control. It is when we lose control that we repress the emotions, not when we are in control. Woo! He is saying something tonight. Let me look at these comments before I continue. Woo! That was my biggest hurdle in 2020. I had to forgive myself for actions people long past forgave me for being held accountable for. Being held accountable for the first time was painful, and I hated myself for years over it. Only by forgiving myself was I able to move forward, to be happy and continue to get back on track. Yes. Yes. Forgiving yourself, I think, is so much harder than forgiving another person. I think, for me, because I'm harder on myself than I am on other people. I am more critical of myself than I am of other people. I'm less forgiving of myself than I am of other people. This is why people have been able to do a lot of things, because I'm very forgiving. I am very forgiving, but that forgiveness of self is a painful one. It's a painful one. And Lisa Nichols actually talks about that. There's a video of Lisa Nichols, and I think I might share it on the Facebook page, where she talked about like the three things that she does, that three things that she would do in the morning, where she would go through and be like, Lisa, I celebrate you for, Lisa, I thank you for, Lisa, I forgive you for. And then she'd make a list in the morning, and she'd change it until she'd say the things until she didn't feel she needed to say it. And that's probably going to be my next journey, is, going through and saying, hey, I forgive you for this. I thank you. Like, I, the forgiveness, that forgiveness is a hard one, because it's just like, even in my situations, I recognize this, my recent situations and my relationship situations that I've gone through over the last 11 years. It's like, I recognize that it's not my fault. I recognize that it's not my fault that they made the decisions that they made. But the parts that are my fault, the allowances that were made for those decisions to manifest and to become, to the decisions that I made to allow those things to happen, those are the parts I have to forgive myself for. Those are the parts that I have to be like, okay, that happened, and I have to acknowledge that that happened. So, forgiving yourself, but repressing your emotions and acting like the feelings don't exist, you do lose control, because eventually those things, it's kind of like Scar and the hyenas, right? Like, I'm just going to keep pushing. Like, I'm just going to, you know, I'm not going to deal with the hyenas. I'm not going to really do anything for them. I'm not going to deal with any of this. I just want the power. I just want control. And that was the thing. Because of the fact that he had negative intentions, and his focus was on like holding on to his anger and his envy and his jealousy and stuff like that, when he had control over everything, he didn't actually have control over the situation, because he wasn't truthful and wasn't honest about his downfalls, and Mufasa was vulnerable. He was honest about when he wasn't. He was honest about his fears. He was honest about his feelings. He was honest about, the fact that he was a flawed king. But Scar, Mr. I know I'm better, because I don't succumb to, I don't deal with those feelings or nothing like that. I don't deal with my feelings. I'm just here to take power and what's owed to me, because that's my right. That's my right. I deserve that. And because of the fact that he hadn't forgiven his parents for the way they treated him and favored Mufasa, for the fact that he hasn't forgiven Mufasa for taking what he felt like belonged to him, even though Mufasa didn't do anything wrong, maybe, we don't know. We don't know if what Mufasa did that may have hurt Scar that he never addressed. But when he got control over things, because of the fact that he actually didn't have control over his emotions, he didn't have control over the situation. And really the hyenas could be a representation of the emotions that he repressed or suppressed and didn't ever deal with. And so when shit hit the fan and everything was falling apart and the rightful owner came and Simba came and all that stuff, when he betrayed it, I mean, his betrayal, whatever, forget the betrayal of the hyenas, but the way that the hyenas overpowered him and killed him, it was just like, that's what your feelings are going to do. If you remember that scene where the hyenas are killing him, you see their shadows, and it's like literally, it's kind of like when you think you're pressing those emotions down and you're compartmentalizing them, and you're like, oh, I got to be strong. No, I can't afford a bad day. There's so many people and so many things in this world that depend on me. I can't afford a bad day, so I'm not going to acknowledge those emotions. I'm gonna keep going. You're falling off the horse. Like I was talking about this I was talking about this recently, where it's just like the idea that like you're going full speed on a horse, you fall off, you break your leg, and you don't address the leg, you just get back on the horse and keep going. Yeah, that works in emergency situations, but you can't just push through life like that. My God, that's devastating to you because those emotions, that broken leg that you're not dealing with, is infected. Is going to be infected, and it's not going to be any good to you when you get there, and it's going to be a bigger problem than initially even had to be because you're not dealing with the emotions as they come up. You're not forgiving yourself, and you're and it's like learning how to do that. Learning how to do that will put you in a space where you can forgive yourself for the times that you didn't know how to do it. Learning how to deal with your emotions as they come rather than putting them away for later will put you in a position where you can forgive yourself for the moments that you didn't know how to do it. Because, ooh, that felt like I felt that as I said it. I felt that as I said it. Because you didn't know better. If you knew better, you would have done better. If you knew better, you would have done better. And if you didn't do better, it's one of two things. I mean, it's probably one of several things, but here's a couple of things it could have been. You were too tired because you were getting beat up by life. You were too tired to deal with them. Um, if you knew better but you still didn't choose to do better, you either too tired, you were living reckless, and you didn't care because you're just like, fuck it. You in fuck it mode, right? So you either were too tired to deal with it or you didn't care. Either way, that's not you in your healthiest state. So again, even if you did know better and you didn't choose to do better because of whatever reason, you still forgive yourself for that. You forgive yourself for when you weren't addressing your emotions in the moment, and you begin today. It's kind of like, instead of like when people want to change their diet and like want to become a vegetarian or something, right? It's not ideal to try to stop cold turkey, and then it's not ideal to just stop meat cold turkey and you know just be like, throw away all the meat, throw away all the things that I'm used to, throw away all the things I'm most familiar with cooking, and the flavors and the things I'm most familiar with, and get all new stuff that I know nothing about in here. No, you don't do that. You do it little by little. Instead of taking things away, you add new things in until the new things become more prevalent than the old things that you're trying to get rid of. So when you're going through this process of understanding how to address your emotions as they come, like, I definitely recommend a group chat, of people that you trust. But if you're dealing with these emotions and you've been that person that pushes them down, falls off the horse, breaks your legs, get back on the horse, keep fucking going instead of addressing the broken leg, like, okay, so don't sit here and go from like full carnivore to vegan in a day. No, add practices in while you're working the other stuff out. Add new practices of how to handle your emotions in while you're letting go of the other things. And when you feel you've come to a point where you're just like, okay, I've added enough practices in where I feel comfortable and it feels more like my norm than the other stuff, then we can begin that process of forgiving ourselves for the other stuff, forgiving ourselves of the things that we're trying to get rid of. One thing that there was this little wooden thing that my grandma and my mom used to have in the house hanging on the wall, and it was the Serenity Prayer. And it's one of the things that I've always like. It was my go-to prayer even when I was a teenager. It was just like I used to use it as a template, just like accept the things you cannot change, have the courage to change the things that you can, and the wisdom to know the difference. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And so I would go through what I would do is say that prayer and go through and be like, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I cannot change this circumstance. I cannot change this circumstance. I cannot change this part. These are the things that have nothing to do with me. And they're happening, but I'm involved because it's happening to me, or it's happening in my life, or it's something like a pandemic where it's affecting everybody. That's the thing I cannot change. But you move to the next section and you say, give me the courage to change the things that I can. And then you identify the things that you can actively change. And it doesn't have to be like 10 things. It could be one, it could be two, it could be three. I never really do more than three whenever I would do that prayer because it's overwhelming if I do any more than that. Right. So accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can. So give me the courage to change these things right here, and the wisdom to know the difference, because sometimes it's hard to know what you have control over. It's hard to know what you actually have control over, because there's some things that I'm like one example I've recently been saying a lot, like I miss my family, I miss my family, I miss my family, and someone was like, well, just go see your family. And I can sit here and list a list of reasons why that's not a reasonable decision right now, based on transportation, lodging whenever I get there, and all these different factors, the things that are going on in my family right now, the pandemic. I have all these lists of reasons, but ultimately that is something that I can change. It's just um thank you. It's something I can change. It's just going to take more work. So the wisdom to know the difference is taking that situation, and separating the parts of it I can change and the parts I can't change. And then sometimes it's just some situations you just have to decipher and have discernment. And honestly, if discernment is something that you struggle with, and understand and trusting your intuition, I honestly would recommend that you start using the serenity prayer as a template for doing inventory of the things that you need to work on. I feel like that's a great place to start. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading. I really feel like we can finish tonight. It might go over an hour, but we love it here. We having a good time, and y'all be here. I love it here. Love you guys. Okay, so let's go back. The warrior has control, not control over another human, but control over one's emotions, control over one's own self. It is when we lose control that we repress the emotions, not when we are in control. The big difference between a warrior and a victim is that the victim represses and the warrior refrains. The victim represses and the warrior refrains. Victims repress because they are afraid to show the emotions, afraid to say what they want to say. To refrain is not the same thing as repression. To refrain is to hold the emotions and express them in the right moment, not before, not later. That is why warriors are impeccable. They have complete control over their own emotions and therefore over their own behavior. All right. So the next section is called The Initiation of the Dead, Embracing the Angel of Death. The final way to attain personal freedom is to prepare ourselves for the initiation of the dead, to take death itself as our teacher. With the angel of death, we can teach what the angel of death can teach us is how to be truly alive. We become aware that we can die at any moment. We just have to be, we just have the present to be alive. The truth is that we don't know if we are going to die tomorrow. Who knows? especially now that the air can kill us. We have the idea that we have many years in the future, but do we? If we go to the hospital and the doctor tells us that we have 1 week to live, what are we going to do? As we have said before, you have two chances. One is to suffer because we are going to die and to tell everyone, poor me, I'm going to die, and really create a huge drama. The other choice is to use every moment to be happy and to do what we really enjoy doing. If we only have 1 week to live, let's enjoy life. Let's be alive. We can say, I'm going to be myself. No longer am I going to run my life trying to please other people. No longer am I going to be afraid of what they think about me. What do I care what others think if I'm going to die in 1 week? I'm going to be myself. Period. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to be myself. What have I told y'all? I want nothing more. If y'all don't get anything else from me, if y'all don't remember anything else from Miss Taylor said, if y'all don't learn any lesson from me except for one, it is to make the radical decision to always be the loudest, most unapologetic, and most authentic version of yourself. What be the youest you that you can possibly be. That's the only thing I want us to do. We're just going to be ourselves and love ourselves. Ooh, child, here we go. The angel of death can teach us to live every day as if it is the last day of our lives, as if there may be no tomorrow. We can begin each day by saying, I am awake. I see the sun. I am going to give my gratitude to the sun and to everything and everyone because I am still alive. One more day to be myself. This is the way I see life. That is what the angel of death taught me, to be completely open, to know that there is nothing to be afraid of. And of course, I treat the people I love with love because this may be the last day that I can tell you how much I love you. I don't know if I'm going to see you again, so I don't want to fight with you. Losing my grandmother at 8 years old made me a old, like, at every time you go away, I'm telling you I love you. I'm telling you I love you all day, every day. I'm gonna tell I love you. I love you. Because and I used to get complaints about it, about how it was just like you say it so much, like sometimes it seems like you're just saying it to fill in the quiet times. And sometimes I did. Sometimes I didn't know what else to say besides I love you, and that was unhelpful. However, my intention when I do say it most of the time, and now at this point I only say it if I mean it and only say it if I feel it's needed to say at the time. But I'm constantly telling those around me that I love them because I want you to know it matters to me that I say the words out loud because my words are magic. My words are powerful. The words that come from my mouth mean something and they have intentions, and those intentions that I place have physical manifestations. So it is important to me, if I love you, to look at you and tell you that I love you, to tell you I love you in the morning, to tell you I love you at night, to tell you I love you throughout the day, to express my gratitude to you because I don't know when my time is going to come. I don't know when your time is going to come. I don't know if what's going to happen, but it needs to be known that right now the relationship we may have may end, but it needs to be known right now in this moment. If I love you, I love you. Don't deprive people of that. I don't know if I'm going to see you again, so I don't want to fight with you. What if I had a big fight with you and I told you all those emotional poisons that I have against you and you die tomorrow? Oops. Oh my God, the judge will get me so bad and I will feel so guilty for everything that I told you. I will even feel guilty for not telling you how much I love you. The love that makes me happy is the love that I can share with you. Why do I need to deny that I love you? It is not important if you love me back. I may die tomorrow or you may die tomorrow. What makes me happy now is to let you know how much I love you. You can live your life this way. By doing so, you prepare yourself for the initiation of death. What is going to happen in the initiation of death is that the old dream that you have in your mind is going to die forever. Yes, you are going to have memories of the parasite, the judge, the victim, and what you used to believe, but the parasite will be dead. That is what that is that is what is going to die in the initiation of death, the parasite. It is not easy to go for the initiation of death because the judge and the victim will fight with everything they have. They don't want to die. And we feel we are the ones who are going to die, and we are afraid of this death. Ooh, talk about that pain. That's that late crying, because you know that if you let go of those feelings, you're letting go of something big. You're letting go of a big part of your life. You're letting go of what you've always known. You're letting go of what you always known. That shit. Again, I'm going to apply it to my life because that's my reference point. The judge, killing the judge and the victim, killing the parasite is like me going into this era of being single because I've never done it before. I've always had the judge and I've always had that placement in my life. So there's a comfort even if it's hurting me. They don't want to die. They don't want to go away. People don't want to end these things. Anyway, we feel we are the ones who are going to die, and we are afraid of this death. When we live in the dream of the planet, it is as if we are dead. Whoever survives the initiation of the death receives the most wonderful gift, the resurrection. To receive the resurrection is to arise from the dead, to be alive, and to be ourselves again. The resurrection is to be like a child, to be wild and free, but with a difference. The difference is that we have freedom with wisdom instead of innocence. Okay? We have freedom with wisdom instead of innocence. We are able to break our domestication, become free again, and heal our mind. We surrender to the angel of death, knowing that the parasite will die and we will still be alive with a healthy mind and perfect reason. Then we are free to use our own mind and run our own life. That is what, in the Toltec way, the angel of death teaches us. The angel of death comes to us and says, you see everything that exists here is mine. You see everything that exists here is mine. It is not yours. Your house, your spouse, your children, your car, your career, your money, everything is mine, and I can take it away when I want to. But for now, you can use it. The same thing like with Job. All of those things in his life, his family, his cattle, his house, his all the stuff that was in his life, all of that could be gone. Everything belongs to the angel of death. Everything in our life that is not us belongs to the angel of death. Everything is mine and I can take it away when I want to, but for now you can use it. So be like Joe. If we surrender to the angel of death, we will be happy forever and ever. Why? Because the angel of death takes the past away in order to make it possible for life to continue. For every moment that is past, the angel of death keeps taking the part that is dead, and we keep living in the present. The parasite wants to carry the past with us, and that makes it so heavy to be alive. When we try to live in the past, how can we enjoy the present? When we dream of the future, why must we carry the burden of the past? When are we going to live in the present? That is what the angel of death teaches us to do. All right, y'all. There's actually one more chapter, and what I'm going to do, there's one more chapter that is only a few pages long, but and then there's prayers. So I actually will save this for tomorrow. That way, when we start again on Monday, we start with a brand new book because you know I love starting new books on Monday, and we'll start the Mastery of Love on Monday. The Mastery of Love by the same author that's doing this book. Y'all, literally, what did I say? What ends up happening is that like whenever I take my talking breaks, I start talking about the things that end up in the next section. But yeah, we have to surrender. So I like the way he put that where he says surrendering to the angel of death, because we're living on borrowed, not borrowed time, but borrowed access, because time is what your body says it is. I know that there's an agreement on there's an agreement there, but time is really what your body says it is. And a lot of my viewpoints on time now have dramatically and radically changed ever since I've started following the People's Oracle, Dana Knuckles. And she's known as the People's Oracle on everywhere. So if you look up her stuff, even go on YouTube and look up her stuff, it's fantastic. and her latest video about time is just fantastic. But it's just like we're not even living on borrowed time. We're living on borrowed access. We're living on borrowed access to these people, to these material things, to these opportunities, to these experiences. It's up to us to be in control of how we react to things, of how we depend on things, and become self-sufficient with our emotions so that we will always be at peace no matter what circumstance comes our way. Yeah. Well, y'all, on that note, I feel like that is a great way to end the show tonight. That's a great place to stop. I appreciate y'all being here. I will be back tomorrow at 6 o'clock for us to actually finish the book. Um, and well, six ish. All right, I had to get myself together emotionally to do the show today. It was this close to not getting done today, but I'm glad that I did it. Um, yeah, y'all try out the Serenity Prayer thing. Y'all try out the Serenity Prayer thing. Feel free to tell me if it works for you, but try it out. And I appreciate y'all being here. Y'all have a good night. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.